Okay, we've reached the end of Unit 8. So today what I've prepared is a couple parallel tasks that are similar to what's going to be on the unit test coming up. That kind of mirror the questions and cover a couple topics I'm guessing that a lot of you have forgotten how to do, like multiplying fractions, like mixed numbers, that kind of thing. It mirrors what's going on in Math Expressions Unit 8 test, and hopefully it'll get you ready for what's about to happen in the next day or two whenever we take this unit test. And it should just shed some light on what's going on. It'll be like, oh, like being an awesome, beautiful firework display. All right, here's an example of a problem that I reckon might give some people some troubles. I reckon. That's a funny word, but anyway. Let's say one large carpet's being shipped by UPS. The charge per square foot is 5 cents. How much would a square carpet with a length and width of 7.5 feet cost to ship? All right, so if we're doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do your homework for you. So what I'll do is I'm going to change that to 8.5. And I'll do a problem with 8.5. And then when you go do your homework tonight, you're going to do it with 7.5. So well, I know what I need to do is I need to do area, because it says square feet here, and I know I have a length and a width. So I'm going to set up on my spare sheet of paper here, area equals length times width. And what I do know is area is 8.1/2 times 8.1/2. Now here's a mistake I bet all of you are going to make. You're going to try to do 8 times 8 and then 1/2 times 1/2, and that is not what you do. What we have to do is change this into this mixed number into improper fractions first, and then we will multiply the improper fractions. So I think this is a point where a lot of people are going to end up in a little bit of trouble, so I'm going to take an extra minute or two just to explain how you do 8.5 times 8.5. It is not 8 times 8 and 1/2 times 1/2. I know that's what everyone's going to try and do, but that's not what you do. Let me go over to this larger sheet of paper and kind of give you a little demo. If we're doing 8.1/2 times 8.1/2, those are both what's called mixed numbers, a whole number and a fraction. What we want to do is change them both into improper fractions. And here's how you do it mathematically. And then I'm going to draw a picture to show you, kind of explain, because a lot of people get confused right here. What you do is 8 times 2, or 2 times 8, which is 16, plus 1 is 17, and you make it 17 halves. This one was also 17 halves because it's the same, 2 times 8 plus 1. A lot of people are like, how on earth did you get 17 halves? Let me show you what that really represents. If I draw a picture of 8.5, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, here's 9. So what I just did was I drew 8.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's 1/2. Now, if I change it to a improper fraction, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut all of them in half. I'm not changing the value at all. This is still 8.5. I didn't draw any more circles. But if I look at the 8, it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 16. But it's 16 halves. Then I already had this 1/2 from before, which is equals 17 halves. So if you take a look what I did, this would be 8 times 2. This is the 8 times 2 part plus 1. And if you look here, this is the 8 times 2 plus 1. So how did I get 17 halves? Well, really I did 8 times 2, which is that, plus 1, which is that. Now I can properly multiply 17 times 17 and 2 times 2. So what I'd ask you to do is go over here back to your area paper and do area equals 17 halves times 17 halves. And from here I'm just going to speed you through, but really go onto a separate sheet of paper and do your 17 times 17. See, I already did all the math. It's a little sloppy, but I did 17 times 17. I got 289. So that would be the 17 times 17. I got 289, and 2 times 2 is 4. So I got this big, huge problem. Then I went and did a division problem, 289 divided by 4. Here it is right here. And I came up with 72 and a quarter. 72 and a quarter. And I believe our original problem all over was feet squared. Or you could have done a decimal, 72.25 feet squared, because you all know that a quarter looks like that, like money, a quarter, 25 cents, whatever. Now you have your 72 and a quarter. That's how you find the area. That's how you multiply 8.5 times 8.5. So when you go do your homework tonight and you do the 7.5 one, you'll have a great idea of how to make it look and how to do it. After you're done with that, you just take your product. I got 72 and a quarter. 72.25, and it costs a nickel to send it. So a nickel a foot, square foot, times 0.05. Do your multiplication. If you forgot how to do that, all I do is I get rid of these decimals. I put a 4 in the parking lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just do 7,225 times 5. When you get the product, you're going to swish over 4 times. That will be your answer. Awesome! Fireworks!